The finish was great. Rollins taps out. Riddle stands tall, and we think the show's over. We think, hey, good night, y'all. The signature pops up. We're going home. But oh no, the lights go off. And this is what I like about the end of the show. Because as you mentioned, we got the Wyatt chance. We knew something was coming tonight. And they were waiting patiently for Wyatt to show up. And I appreciate the fact that Riddle and Rollins worked their way through that and delivered a really good match and engaged the people in the end. But we know what was coming. And I appreciate the fact that the return of Bray Wyatt did not overshadow this match, or he did not come out to target either guy. This was a separate thing on the show, which I appreciate. And the presentation and the return of Bray Wyatt was fantastic. We had the fireflies out there, the cell phones flashing. We had the whole world in his hand singing in the background. We got acknowledgement of the Firefly Funhouse, from Huskus the Pig to Abigail the Witch to the Rambling Rabbit to Mercy the Buzzard, all the characters in human form, human puppet-sized form in the crowd. Then we cut to this backstage screen of the old funhouse. Cobwebs collected. It's decrepit, it's old, it's dusty, hasn't been in use in a year or so. And then we have this door opening to the White Rabbit. And it's Bray Wyatt. And I forget that we had the Fiend out there too. We had a Fiend in the crowd, and there was a Fiend mask on the table by Michael and Corey. And Michael said, peace out. I'm done for the night. Bye, y'all. But we get Bray at the end. He has a mask on, takes it off, and we see him in his luscious dreadlocks. And he has his lantern. He's here, and we fade to black. I thought the presentation, I thought the entire viral campaign of the QR codes and the White Rabbit song playing at various arenas across the country over the last few weeks has been amazing, smart, savvy. And I know some people says, well, this is the old Bray Wyatt, same old stuff we've been used to. No, every time Bray reinvents himself, he kills off his previous gimmicks, is what he does. The Firefly Funhouse is not coming back. These characters that you see are not coming back. The Fiend is dead. All of this is saying goodbye to who he was and bringing forth someone new and exciting. I know the fear is will he be booked like he can't be beaten, as if he's unstoppable, as if he can't be pinned. That was Vince McMahon. I could tell you for a fact that Seth and Bray hated what happened 3 years ago in Hell in a Cell. That was not their idea of what they wanted to do for their match. Bray Wyatt can work if you let him work. He's very smart and creative when he's allowed to be himself. This is a Vince McMahon free zone of him to do what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. So in 6 months, if he's doing some stuff you don't like, sure. But I don't want people to get caught up in what was 3 years ago. That's gone now. He's going to kill it. He killed the original Wyatt family. He's done this before. It's a reset. I'm curious to see what this White Rabbit represents. I want to see how far he takes it, what he's going to do, who he's going to feud with, and what he's going to offer as a character this time around. There's a lot of thought behind this, and you can hear about the crowd. They were hyped for it. I'm excited. I think he's a great guy in terms of conceptualizing what he wants as a wrestler. We'll see how it goes in the ring. But I thought this was a great way to end the show, to leave the fans wanting more heading into Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was really an excellent presentation, as you put it. And people like to talk about what Bray Wyatt isn't, what he can't do, and quote unquote, he's not that good in the ring, and he's not this, he's not the guy, and he's been pushed and didn't work, and he's, all this stuff that he can't do. Well, let me tell you one thing that Bray Wyatt does, I would say, better than anybody in wrestling history outside of probably Chris Jericho, and that's reinvent himself and make people care about him whenever he comes back. Every time Bray Wyatt has made this grand return, the intrigue has been through the roof. The reaction that when he showed the Fiend mask, the reaction that got was incredible. When he came out in just his regular mask, just with the lantern, the crowd went crazy. And when they saw his face, they were just, everybody can't build that type of anticipation. Everybody's not able to revitalize a gimmick, yet keep the core elements of who you are. And that's something that, again, outside of Chris Jericho, I don't know of too many people who've been able to do it at this high of a level, and to do it multiple times years later. I mean, to Bray Wyatt, and then the Fiend was years later, and now this is years later. I was blown away by it. The presentation was incredible. It's all about the follow-up and what comes next. And, that's going to be the big thing, is whoever he feuds with next is going to be in a huge spot. So I would have to think it's going to be a pretty decent name. If they're smart, they're going to put him in there with somebody who can work to get the best type of match out of him. He's a guy that doesn't really need a title, and I think that's one thing that you can do with him. He can be a spectacle. He can be his own type of main event, because people are going to care about whoever he faces. Think about The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Even when he didn't have a title, people cared about him and who he's facing. And anytime The Undertaker was on the card, you can do that with a Bray Wyatt character. And that's what The Fiend should have been. He should have been a guy that he should have essentially been the boogeyman, not the boogeyman from WWE, but the horror character, the boogeyman. He shows up, you freaked out, and he's gone, and you don't know when he's coming back. That's how you utilize Bray Wyatt. So I'm very excited. I think a lot of people are eating their words as far as the intrigue and people caring about Bray Wyatt. The fireflies and the lights that went up when the lights went out, that should tell you and shows you everything you need to know. The crowd, the reaction, beautiful thing. Great way to end the show. The match itself, 4 tiers for me. Good match. I think the lady should have closed. That's just a personal thing. But one thing you did touch on that I really liked as well is that this had nothing to do with the main event. They gave Riddle his moment, walked out, the show closed, and then they did this. So another small touch that I like that Triple H did.
Yeah, and I think that anybody has any reservations about Bray Wyatt, just remember that he came from NXT and Triple H was behind the original Wyatt family. So I have faith in them working together and collaborating to deliver what they want us to see in their vision. I'm all for that. And numbers do not lie. 923, the people thought he was showing up in Utah. That show did 2.5 million viewers on Fox. So he is a pull, a draw. People cared to see him at 923, and they got a QR code instead. They was pissed off, but they cared still. They were hyped for the QR codes. They were hyped for the clues. And as you mentioned, Scott, I think only Chris Jericho is the only other guy that could do a viral campaign like this and get over. Remember Save Us from 2007, Break the Code, Who's Coming Back, Chris Jericho, the best in the world gimmick, all those vignettes and videos heading into that year's WrestleMania against CM Punk. These two guys, in terms of reinvention and using viral campaigns on TV to get themselves back in the spotlight, it's second to none. And that is the bar for me in terms of you come back and you're completely different. And that's Bray Wyatt. He will have you at attention no matter what the gimmick is. And I respect him for that. The ring work, we're going to see. But in terms of engaging an entire fan base via a viral campaign with White Rabbits and shit, a win for me. Only Chris Jericho could do that in my eyes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of possibilities as far as where he can go with the story. And I know I just brought up about how I don't think he should be going after the title. And I think this is something you could do down the road when Roman eventually loses the title. But him versus Roman is still an intriguing option because, and not for the title, but when Roman came back, it was against the Fiend. And now the Fiend has come and gone, and Roman's still champion. And, now we have this new Bray Wyatt, and Roman and Bray have always, to me, felt like they should be these like mortal enemies, and they're always destined to cross paths. Like even from the very beginnings, they were always like just destined to cross paths. And I feel like, again, after Roman loses the title, or hell, I mean, even if you do a title, it would be a huge match, but I don't think he should be anywhere near a title. But that's a really big matchup that already has a nice backstory to it and is something different. But, I love that there are options for Bray Wyatt going out of this. I just don't think it should involve the title.